Well, here we are at the mighty layer pit. To say I cut my teeth on here would be an understatement. Started fishing here about 1992 and I learnt so many different methods on this place, and probably the most notable one was the Zig rig. Brilliant, brilliant method. I don't understand why anglers are so apprehensive about using it. Some days I'd come to layer, I'd be fishing on the bottom, I just wouldn't know what's happening. Why am I not catching them? Well, they're everywhere, they're jumping out, leaping, and there's nothing on earth like a layer show. It wasn't until I got on the Zigs that suddenly those slow days became red letter days. Right, well, I've had the baits out for about an hour at the moment, and it's just 2 single zigs out there on the adjustable setup, and I know them very well, these carp, and they do react to a little bit of bait even in the early spring, when often you say like singles and bags are the way to go, but I know these carp and I know they react to a bit of a disturbance. So I've got in here, have a look at that. Now that bait is pretty damn mouldy to most people, but knowing the mainline stuff like I do, they're often brilliant like this. And if you actually crack one open, have a look at that. There's no mould inside it, it's just on the outside, and that's the sugars that are reacting with all the wonderful ingredients that are in there. And I'll get loads of questions on that, all right? Don't throw it away, put it back out, or even keep it in the bag and let it go nice and sweaty. This is about a week old in the back of my van, but I'm really happy using it like that, so don't worry. Okay, now I'm gonna put together a nice, almost like sloppy zig mix stroke bottom bait mix, and that's the great thing with this. These carp could suddenly start feeding on the bottom, or they could be up in the water, so I've got a mix that's going to suit both purposes. So first thing I'm going to do now is add some salt and pepper chili hemp, and this and the juice and all, and that's going to go over that bait nice and get the whole lot in there, juice and all. Then the golden grain, that needs no introduction. Get that in, lovely. Now everyone says we always use the most expensive bait out there. Well, we all know how expensive this stuff is, don't we? I'm going to put loads of it in. But once that starts mashing up with water and everything, that's going to go beautiful. Next up, they love the hybrid on layer. Absolutely brilliant. This is a bag of 10 millers to complement the prototype bait that's in the bottom of the tub as well. So I've got 14s and 10s. That's all in there. And then this is the exciting bit. I've used this Zig Fishing for absolutely years. It tastes incredible, it's cheap to use. This is a bit of custard. I know I'm a massive goo fan, but you can't be squirting in sort of 12 quid bottles a go. I often just use that to put a little squirt into the spod before I put it out. But this is a nice mainstay, great taste, great attraction. And the great thing about this, you're gonna create a beautiful cloud out there and the fish are gonna home in on that. And then the next one, there you go, look. That's a bit of carnation, well, caramel carnation if you like, look. That's lovely. You won't use the whole tub. It is so tasty, this. Carp absolutely love it. Full of sugar. So there we go. Look at that old chundry mess in there. So I'm going to get my hands dirty, get them in there, mix this lot up, get it all together nice and stodgy. And then what I'll do is I will add water to mash that bread up even more. Get them boilies up from the bottom. And this is quite a coarse zig mix, just stirring all that up now to get the bread mashed up, get the boilies from the bottom mixed in with the boilies on the top. Nice bit of water in there at the minute from the hemp juice and the corn. Just getting this lovely stodgy mess, and it's not like a soupy zig mix, because as I say, I might end up fishing on the bottom later as well, depending on what the carp do. But this mash will just land along with that creamy stuff, a little bit of goo in the spod. That's going to create a nice cloud. These little hemp particles will fall down slowly. And you've got loads of options. You could add a little micro pellet in there if you want. There are no rules with it really. Let your imagination go wild. Get a nice mix together. That is absolutely gorgeous. That's always a magic question. When do you spod over zigs? And how much do you put out? So I always find when I'm on well-stocked venues, that's when to do it really, when you're trying to get a feeding reaction, a bit of a frenzy. But you don't put sort of a bucket out and then just sit there. The key is to keep that cloud, keep that water flow, if you like, the bait going through the water column. It's that consistency. So I tend to start with sort of 7 spods. It's a lucky number for me after the Great Kenny Dalglish. I put 7 out, get a bit of a cloud, and if that doesn't stimulate the response I want straight away, then I'll give it a little while, maybe then put 2 or 3 other spods out straight over the top again, and just keep doing it. Frequency is the key, and you'll find some lakes will respond to it almost constant, like a stream, dinner bell, and the fish end up coming in and homing in on it. Other ones, you need to put a little bit out, create a bit of a cloud and a bit of disturbance and a little bit of different food falling through the water column at different times, and then when you sit back down, you'll get a take. Well, it's pretty grim reaper at the minute. Any method is pretty bad in a swim with no carp in it, and we are just sort of wasting away here at the moment, waiting for someone to go home in a better area. The fish are held up somewhere they really do like on here. It's that middle part. So many lakes this shape, square, they love the middle, and there's nowhere near the stock there used to be in this lake, you know, back in the 90s, where they used to say count the fish on top, then add 2,000. So just waiting for someone to move, and then I can move into their grave. Classic Zig setup. This one was 5.5 foot, so I measured it up to the top of my head from the floor. Also a classic hook bait really. Black foam at the bottom of the hook bait, yellow foam at the top, and that's your combo really. But that range that I was fishing just wasn't right. There's too much of a ripple on, and it was a little bit too far out for those adjustable zigs. I was getting there, but it's actually seeing them and getting to judge the depths. You end up not really knowing where you're fishing, and that was the problem. But I'm now doing what I'm used to doing and what a lot of people know I love doing, and that's just fishing a traditional zig setup. And now I've got one of the little yellow kickers on as well. I would normally have waders, but come on mate, get yourself in there. Oh, go on. Yes. Oh, wicked. There you go. This is what a layer pit common carp looks like. Not the biggest one, 14 pound I reckon, about that sort of weight, but we've worked very hard for it. A swim move, a tactical tweak, same hook bait, same loose feed, and there you go. This is what my youth was made of. Loads and loads of these common carp. Awesome to see you again. But the most important thing to remember is use zigs more. There's too many people out there that just don't fish them and are happy to sit there scratching their gnats, wondering what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. They're off the bottom. They're feeding, but they're feeding on natural larder that's floating around. They're feeding on food that's falling from your spod, and they know down there is dangerous. I would hazard a guess to say I've had more big hits consistently on zigs than I have fishing on the bottom. There's a little revelation for you. Well, this fish is swinging right, so I've got to be careful. It's a typical layer trait. You often have to go over your next door neighbour's swim to land them. I've done a few of them over the years. It's gone solid. Right, just follow me round to next door. It's gone solid, that. Sorry, yeah. Step back here. Go on, Bazza, get in there, son. Go on. He's gone all silent. He ain't stopped talking all day. I think Barry should be the new presenter of Monster Carp anyway. He's far more entertaining than I am. What do you reckon, Barry? That looks nice, that, no?
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks, mate. Speaks fluent Chinese, Barry. Another sprightly double. How high is that zig, do you reckon, Barry? No, what do you reckon it is?
No idea.
It's done on my height, 5.5 foot. All right then, he's getting there. He's getting there. Lovely work, Bazza. Done that before, mate, ain't ya? Let me kiss your hand. Top man. Sorry to invade your swim.
Don't be so silly.
Look at that, an absolute layer bar of gold, 23.8, and that is the culmination of a very tough day that's come good, and just always does the business here. Get on the fish, put them zigs out this time of year, and it's bite after bite once it gets going. You just need to be on them, and that's proof in the pudding. What an absolute belter.